Hello, folks. I just retired a few months ago from working with the city's sanitation department. My job was at the wastewater treatment plant. I was a certified Class 4 hockeyologist. Now, most of you probably never heard of a job called hockeyologist. And you probably don't personally know any hockeyologists. But I'm going to tell you how to recognize a hockeyologist. If you have a friend that collects miniature commodes and toilets and outhouses, he may be a hockeyologist. If you ever took the cheese in a large crowd and someone hollers, "That smells like bread and butter to me," he may be a hockeyologist. If you see a guy look at a pile of poop that he just stepped in and describes it as about 45% concentration, he may be a hockeyologist. If you and a friend drive by a wastewater treatment plant and he says, "That smells like money to me," he may be a hockeyologist. If you see a sanitation department truck dumping smelly dirt in the yard next door, your neighbor may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor's yard smells like rotten eggs, your neighbor might be a hockeyologist. If your friend's vacation slideshow includes pictures of a wastewater treatment plant, he might be a hockeyologist. If your friend riding with you can point out all the wastewater pump stations in town, he may be a hockeyologist. If you've got a friend that can eat a sandwich while sitting on the job, he may be a hockeyologist. If your friend can sit in a crowded restaurant and talk about the process of treating poop, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor's wife tells you that her husband works for the water company, but he drives a sanitation department truck, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor can distinguish between the difference in a wastewater treatment plant odor and a paper company odor, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor has been recognized by the city as a hero or pulling someone out of a poop tank, he may be a hockeyologist. If you see your neighbor at the mall on Saturday night and he's wearing his work uniform and his work shoes, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor's wife washes his clothes at the laundromat, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor describes the taste of poop as being salty, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor's favorite quote is, "Your number 2 business is our number 1 business," he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor's favorite saying is, "You flush them and we'll crush them," he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor changes clothes on the back porch after coming home from work before going into the house, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor refuses to discuss his job with the city in detail, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor claims that he is immune to stomach viruses, he may be a hockeyologist. If your neighbor's family car smells like someone's cooking cheese in it all the time, he may be a hockeyologist. So if you recognize one of your friends or your neighbor as a hockeyologist, give them a big hug, because they are making your city a better place to live.